Good morning. Good morning. We've got about 4 or 5 more minutes before we get started. And I just want to say refreshing morning to each of you. Looking forward to our guest and some of our sisters to join us this morning. We've committed to bring you global relationship all the way from Harare, Zimbabwe. So many have been asking, Anita, when are you going to talk about your time in Zimbabwe? And I thought, what a creative way to do it than to bridge the gap of communication concerning those special concerns that women are addressing. And we have our dear favored Chief Erica Triplett, who will be speaking to us. She's right here in the United States, Virginia Beach, Virginia. She has retired with honor from the Navy, 20-year career, and she's going to be sharing with us how to build it beyond, after retirement. And then, of course, we are celebrating Pamela Gee, favorably called Pamela Gee, who is an advocate for anti-gender-based violence in Harare. What a tremendous work this woman, this mother, wife, advocate is doing as she is sharing with others in Zimbabwe. And they're going to be joining us each one by one, and hopefully we will get a chance to have exchange and literally position ourselves so that even those women who are part of IBH Sister Sounds, as they're joining, we still have a few minutes, they're joining, they will be able to ask questions, exchange, of course, that sound of love that we always have for our guest. And they are arriving. We want to celebrate and salute Chief Erica Triplett this morning. What a wonderful, beautiful woman, friend, sister, Queen sister is joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you this morning?
I am well. I'm trying to bring up the live stream so that I can share it on my platform.
Sure, I will share it. Let's see if I can tag you and get you on that. Let's see here. It is available to share. So you are able to do that, and we're excited. And we want to say a refreshing morning to favorably called Pam Gee, all the way in Zimbabwe. Please allow me to welcome you to IBH Sister Sounds World, as well introduce you to one of our sisters and one of our board members here with IBH Sister Sounds, our military edition, Chief Erica Triplett. Meet your sister, Pam Gee.
Morning.
Lovely to meet you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We're just having a little chit chat, something that we do prior to going into the actual broadcast and sharing it with others. And I still need to share on our group page, because there will be some people who join through that as well, on Sister Sounds World. And then we also have another page, IBH Sister Sounds World Africa. And so I am so excited because we are growing. Erica will tell you, we grew from a Zoom call, and in a couple of years we were in Zimbabwe. And I'm telling you, it's a powerful relationship that we are experiencing. I'm going to put it on there as well. If you'd like to share, you're certainly welcome at this time. We have about 1 minute before we formally get started, even though we're live, but I don't like that old starchy stuff. I like to just keep it real. Were you able to share, Erica?
Yes, ma'am, I was. I believe so. I didn't go back and look, but I hit the share button on my Facebook.
Awesome. Let me get on this Rhythms of Grace, and then IBH Sister Sounds World Africa. And we are live on all those pages. And I even shared with a couple of people, wake them up. Let's get them woke. Absolutely. We are expecting Donna Wright to join us. And my little thing here, let me put it on silent as well. All ready to get started. I certainly want to welcome each of you who are listening even now to our IBH Sister Sounds World, our drive time interviews. We've started to do that now because we know that you're up having your coffee, and I'm a coffee snob too, having your coffee, fixing your breakfast for your family, or running out the door. You can turn us on. Don't watch, but turn us on while you're driving. And we have our very, very special guest with us, our very own Chief Erica Triplett. I'm gonna keep calling her Chief because she just is. I can't wait for you to hear from her, as well as our sister and friend and comrade in inspiring women, Pamela. I saw online they call her favorably Pamela Gee, but she's going to give you more information as we go along. And I want to go on and just welcome each of you. Let's see here. I think somebody's trying to reach me. Let's see, I will jump on. Okay, great. Thank you, Donna. Donna's saying she's going to jump on Facebook so that if there are any questions, she can grab those questions and send them out to us. So awesome. So welcome, welcome. IBH Sister Sounds World was formed as a result of some of the clients that I have asking to have the same experience that they had actually when they were in the facial room. I didn't understand it at first, but when I decided to retire my hands, they said, look, Anita, we still need the experience. And this was in the middle of COVID. And I'm like, how are we going to do that? They said the experience of someone who cares for them, that asks about them. And so we started with 12, a Zoom call. It grew within less than a year on our group page to over 200. We're going to do this again. We had the 8-day worthy challenge, and we have grown. And we now are global because we have relationships with our sisters. We're now in Zimbabwe, and we're excited about that. IBH means in the beauty of wholeness. And I know it's not spelled with an H, but it works, IBH. We just take and move the W and say wholeness, but we mean it in the truest sense of the word, that you should be whole, spirit, soul, and body, and in that order. And we have loads of women who share with us, who we inspire with what we call the sound of love. And what that means is we share with that person how we celebrate them. And so I say to you this morning, Erica, you are amazing. This is a sound of love to you, that you are not just anointed, you are creative. You are a dynamic leader. You are an amazing friend. You are a compassionate woman. You are a sensitive woman. And your future ahead is brighter than you could ever imagine. This is the sound of love in my heart towards you, Erica. And likewise for our sister Pam, you have touched my heart tenderly. But what I learned in just observing you is your heart of giving, your heart of celebrating others, that there's no distance from the love you share and the thoughts you have about it. The moment you think it, you get it done. And we celebrate you, and we call you blessed. We call you highly favored. We call you not just anointed, but anointed that produces results. And we say that may high favor come to you like you've never known. May high favor surround you. May high favor and the angelic host that encamps about each of us, for both you and Erica and our listeners, that they would encamp about you and nudge you in the way of success, nudge you in the way of creativity. May they give you the urgency that destiny is waiting on both of you. This is my sound of love to you. God bless you. So let's jump right in. Miss Pam Gee, tell us, well, first of all, let's chat about how we met, and then we'll go from there. Do you remember how we met?
Yes, I remember how we met. I was introduced to you by my niece, and she's my namesake. She's also called Pamela. So she's the one who introduced me to you. And then, boom, I got to meet you, but I got to hear about the work that you were doing, most of all, particularly the book, Build It Beyond. And I immediately just resonated with the message that was in there, and I was dying to meet you.
And likewise. And likewise. And Pamela, Freddie is now our key liaison there in Zimbabwe. And we are very excited to be building towards returning and bringing the women from the United States there to support not only what we are doing with the Center for Total Transformation, where they serve over 600 children a day in an orphanage, but they also serve women, and we are committed to support them as a nonprofit agency. And that's one of the main reasons I wanted you to come to talk to us about your work in and advocacy there in Zimbabwe, and not just there, it's much broader. But before we go there, we always like to learn more about the person. So tell us a bit about you as a woman, as of course you're married and your husband and you are in ministry, and then your family. And then we always like to know a little bit about, what do you do for self-care? How do you take care of you?
Mhm. Thank you so much, Anita. And you mentioned Pamela G. It's actually G. It's pronounced G
Oh,
because
sorry.
I'm no problem, no problem. I'm married to Pastor G. Okay, and
Okay.
he happens to be a big musician here in Zimbabwe, a big gospel artist who ministers through worship and who ministers through music. So I've been married to him for 25 years, and we have three sons, the oldest being 23. His name is Dale. The second born is 20 years old. And then the last born is actually 6 years old. Yeah. And
Woo.
yeah, a big gap. The Lord just
Yes, ma'am.
decided, yeah, the Lord just decided to surprise us and give us, somebody who would stick around with us when everybody else is leaving the house. So
Ah,
that's our little Ezra. That's our last born. Then what do I do? I'm a very passionate woman for God, and I'm very passionate about doing great exploits that empower and uplift women. I feel that my calling and my natural gifting is very much along the lines of lifting other women up and just being that person who meets the needs of others as they see them. So you were very right when you said I'm that kind of a person who, when I see something and I think something, I immediately act on it so that I bring some solution to whatever problem that I would have identified. And what are some of the things that I do just for self-care and self-love? I love to acknowledge the fact that my body is a temple created by God, and therefore it's my responsibility to ensure that I look after that temple. If I'm going to do anything in this world or even for the kingdom, I've got to be well enough to do it. And so my key priority is to ensure that I exercise, and I do that daily. I set aside at least an hour of exercise where I just work out, and I'm also very intentional about what I eat because I
because you
realize,
look fabulous. I remember
oh,
when you walked in the door, I was like, woo. I was like, okay, Swiss. Listen, Erica, if you saw her, you would be like, give her the Queen's wave, honey.
why, you are very kind, Miss
Nah,
Anita.
it's the truth. I saw you. I was like, ooh, I need to get up and go for a walk.
Well, I am very deliberate about that, and I'm very, just very cautious that I need to look after myself. And some of the things I do, even just for self-love, is to every now and then take time out to, on nature walks, sometimes just take time out, and appreciate, game reserves, or just go out with friends and laugh. I love to laugh, just as a way of, releasing any tensions. But naturally, I'm that kind of a person. I enjoy the company of other sisters, and I
Yeah.
just enjoy a good laugh. Yeah. And then lastly, I think just on the self-acceptance bit, I also just like to be conscious about what God has gifted me with, and then be very conscious that I don't have, so much time in my life to fulfill those things. So every day must be, I must be on a mission to accomplish whatever it is that God, gifted me with. The things that are in my hands already. I'm not looking for things. I'm saying, God, what have you given me that I already have? What am I doing to release what is in my hands so that I die empty? That's my mission. I've got to die
Yeah.
empty. I mustn't enrich the grave. I must leave it all out here.
Yes, I love it. And my apologies, Pastor G. Please give him my apologies. But I know
No
that
problem.
you did mention that he is a phenomenal gospel artist and has come into the States, and many
Yes.
know him here. Tell us the name of your ministry so that people will be aware. Do you guys broadcast live where we can chime in and hear the ministry from time to time?
Okay, so he goes by the name Pastor G, and his music is on all the platforms, your iTunes, your Apple Music, your Spotify. You will find he's done about 11 albums to date.
Okay.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
so you'd be able to tap into some of those if you tune on to any of those. Then in terms of the ministry, we are plugged into a church called Borodale Community Church. That's where we serve. And he specifically serves within the worship side of things. But he's also involved in a lot of work that has to do with mentoring the youth, the upcoming musicians, through
Excellent.
his specific ministry, which is called One Heart Worship. And
Mm.
this is where it's an academy where he's really just bringing up upcoming young artists and really going all out to pass on the generational baton, passing on everything that he knows in grooming these young artists so that they can, carry on, the gospel.
Excellent. Excellent. So tell us a little bit about how you became an advocate in the area. I know that you're in media and things of that nature, but I really want to bridge the gap concerning gender violence and talk to us about that. And Erica, Chief Erica, I know that at some point, some things are going to trigger. So you do know you can jump in with questions, because as a chief in the military, for 20 years, this woman has served, and she's going to share a little more after you, my sister, and tell us about how do you build it beyond after retirement. And again, we're here with IBH Sister Sounds World, and we have our guest, Pamela G. I got it right this time.
Yes, you're right.
All the way from Harare, Zimbabwe. And then, of course, Chief Erica Triplett, right here with us in the United States in Virginia Beach. So share with us, how did you get involved in anti-gender violence advocacy?
The way I got involved, let me just get rid of this. The way I got involved, Anita, came about just as a result of several things that I had observed just in our community regarding just how women were being treated. I saw a lot of women with a lot of potential just being really stifled in terms of, their wings really being clipped and not being able to be who they are meant to be. And, how I would just discover this is in small little private conversations that I would have with several women that I would interact with. And you would discover that as I would speak to them, I would discover that, wow, this is a gem of a woman, but she's so stifled and so, trampled on that she's losing who she is. And I would get some women actually saying to me, Pam, like some women that I've gone to school with and I'm meeting them later, they would actually say to me, Pam, what was I like at high school? And this would be somebody who was a head girl, and a real go-getter. And suddenly, life has given them such a blow through their partner that they no longer see any value in themselves, and they've even forgotten who they are, to the extent that they are asking for opinions to say, who am I? So that really, really just, was a burden on my heart. And I said, you know what? I want to do whatever I can in my little strength and within my sphere of influence, to empower women and to give them a voice and to tell them that, yes, you can, and you will.
Yes, yes, you
Mm.
can't build it beyond. Diminished self-esteem. That's the key word that I heard. And I relate to that. I relate to that. Several years ago, when I do the Give Me My Touch Back, which we're going to bring there, Give Me My Touch Back workshop or retreat, I use a photo story, a photo story that shows when I came to myself. That's the best way I could say it, keeping it simple. And someone took pictures. I was speaking at a convocation. One of the guest speakers at a ministry had a great photographer. She took pictures. I did a photo shoot with her. And when I saw the results of the pictures, I was like, well, where are my pictures? And she said, these are the pictures. I said, no, that's not me. She's like, yes, ma'am, it is you. She was very humbled. And I was like, no. And when I looked at it, I said, what in the world happened that how I feel on the inside is not translating on the outside? Diminished self-esteem. How do you address that? And then we're going to pass the mic to Chief Erica and just let her kind of slip in some things that she noticed as a chief, even with women in the military or women in ministry, because we all are in ministry. But how do you address that with your advocacy there in Zimbabwe? And I know in other places, because you've shared it, but what are the key things that you do?
Yeah, so with that diminished self-esteem, one of the key messages that we try to push is the message that has to do with purpose, to say, who are you as a person? Take a look in the mirror, and not just the mirror, but the mirror of your heart, and introspect a little bit, give yourself time to ask yourself, who am I? And as you ask yourself, who am I? You're also resonating with the voice of God that says, who do I say you are? Who does God say I am? And, when we begin to point somebody towards God, we are also just taking the approach that says, where did you come from? He created you. He designed you. You are not just a part of a crowd, but you are a unique individual who was fearfully and wonderfully made by God. Even though you feel more fearful than wonderful, but you were,
right.
but you were really just fearfully and wonderfully made. That means God took time to make you. And when you begin to have a conversation like that with somebody, you see them reflecting and taking a step back to say, actually, they kind of like start having a memory of what it is that makes them who they are. And they start to have that desire that says, actually, hang on a minute, I want to be who I'm meant to be. I've become someone else, but I want to reclaim who I am.
Yes, yes.
And there starts the journey of self-discovery and going back on the path.
Now you work through an organization. Are you the founder of the organization? And second, what are some of the activities that you either sponsor or participate in for the women?
Okay, so I work through, actually Pastor G and I, we founded an organization called Audacious Media, and I work through that organization.
I love that name.
Yeah, audacious, audacious. I work through that organization to create a platform that is called Audacious Women. Okay. And that platform of Audacious Women is really just a platform where we are sifting women and bringing them together and just saying to them, how do we empower you, to have some knowledge about financial literacy, to have some time out in terms of just your mental health, to have some time out as well in terms of, just being empowered with tools that can help you in your startup business. And even if you haven't started something, how do we help you with ideas to be able to start something that can get you on your feet and going? So we're looking at women who are at various stages of their lives, professional, those that are accomplished, those that are trying to get somewhere, and those that actually haven't started. And we're saying, let's work with you where you are, and let's empower you with tools that can help you get up and go.
So do you have weekly, monthly, or quarterly events? What does that look like?
Okay. So for the Audacious Women, we actually have like quarterly meetings where we just come together. Either it's a breakfast or it's a lunch meeting where we just say, hey, take time out, 3 hours of your day, where we have we have a couple of speakers that will be lined up. Then we also have a session where people can just have, interaction, with each other and with those experts that would have brought on, so that they can inquire or they can, just be helped in problem areas that they might have. So we set aside that on a quarterly basis. But besides the Audacious Women, I also work closely with other women's organizations, and I play a supportive role because I'm so passionate about women's movements. I will step in and assist in any way that I can, being
that's
very
the truth.
hands-on.
Well, let me testify, y'all. That's the truth. Chief Erica, while I was there, Pamela was so instrumental in getting me on CTT television. I know more women. Grace, I've met Grace, who was there, and she's actually grown since the last time that you connected us, as well as I think Ashley Moyo, and just a giver, y'all. So we extend that favor back to you. And I want to say this, and I wanted you to keep going. We have a few more minutes for your segment. Is I already know that I want to bridge the global gap between the women that we will be serving, and when we come there, the women that you are serving. That is my heart. God is with Zimbabwe.
Yeah,
First
that's
of all,
true.
God's eye is on Zimbabwe. I know that when my feet hit the ground, and the favor of God that came and the power of his majesty, he's got his eye on Zimbabwe, and he has his eye on the people of Zimbabwe. So I align myself and IBH Sister Sounds and the anointing that goes with us, God with us, comes likewise to the work that you're doing. And I wanted to just kind of get that in, because we intend to lock arms with you and Audacious Women, and do audacious things.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am. So
Amen.
share with us a little more. Erica, did you have any question or comment you want to make about what you're hearing? You sure you are a talker? Hi. So tell us a little more how you connect with not just the women that are there in Zimbabwe, but also in other nearby countries, because I want to, as I said, open up an awareness, not just of our spiritual experience, because we can over spiritualize some things and never get anything done. And to be target specific, to go arm in arm with you, how do you build those relationships from country to country on the continent? How have you been able to do that?
So for me, I've used the platform of business to connect with women. I've always believed that God blesses you where you are, and God uses you even when you're in business. That business is your pulpit.
Yes.
How you're conducting that business, and whoever you're interacting with, who knows? You could be the only Bible that somebody's reading.
That's right.
Yeah. So whatever you're doing, what message are you sending out, and how are you connecting with people? So I have very good tight relationships with women in Botswana, and primarily because I actually worked in Botswana for about 7 years. And while I was in Botswana, I did a lot of work with women, including the United Nations, UNHCR, where I was working alongside the refugees and helping women refugees, but not just women, the children as well, the men. We were there, just standing with them and giving them ideas about how to really just stand up in life and just, be counted despite their situations. I also have very good, relations with women in Kenya. And I also have, good relations with women in Zambia. And this is all just through business, where you then go and build it beyond by taking,
thank you.
where you take the conversation beyond just, the business contract, and you say, hey, how are you doing in your personal life? Hey, have you tried God? Or hey, there's more to life than just this. And you find that, and you find somebody's really receptive, and probably you became that answer they were looking for, because they probably didn't have somebody else to pour out to.
Yes, that's one of the connecting pieces with the Build It Beyond program. Give Me My Touch Back is the first event that I want to partner with organizations there. We're really doing a lot of research on what does it take to first have the book translated into Shona. I want common language, because I would rather teach how to use the material to women who are right there where the rubber meets the road, and build them to build others. And certainly anything when we return, and I'll talk to you long before then, but anything that we can do to partner with that program and bring it, I welcome the conversation. Chief Erica, you'll hear more about her career in a moment. We're almost ready to wrap up this side of the segment, but we care to inspire 1 million individuals. And at first we said women, but we like 43% on depending on what we do, are men that actually follow what we're saying, because there are men also that are experiencing gender violence, and it's unreported. There are women who are experiencing that, and I'd love to plan with you to come back and really deep dive into that and how it's being addressed. I love building relationship, and I love building it virtually, so that as people are watching this, and I always edit, and then my first quarter, I put it on YouTube so that it can be used again. But it's very important to me that we educate. And so that if a person can't come back to Zimbabwe with me, they can find something to do here local. And we can connect some of the organizations and advocacy groups here and bring a forum, virtual forum, if necessary, to say, what are some of the best practices? What are some of the tools? And how can we support? And again, I honor you for the work that you're doing. I experienced the sisterhood from you. My heart is full thinking about that right now, because it made that welcome real. It made that trip bigger than what I ever could have expected, because of what God commissioned me to do. And so likewise, we say the same to you, that we salute you, we bless you, we honor you. And I'm going to allow, because this woman is anointed, Erica, if she likewise will speak a sound of love over you as well, as we move into our second segment. And when she's completed, then I'll ask you for final words that you would like to speak to the audience. Erica, would you express a sound of love?
Good morning, Miss Pamela G. You have to forgive me. It's about 7:30 here where I am, and I've been not working since about October. So this is the earliest I've probably been up and had to function, beyond just being awake and soaking in my morning and allowing God to download into me for the day. So if I seem a little tired, that's what it is. But I am here with you. And I want you to know that empowerment to women and men alike is very, very important. And when you have a heart and a spirit for that, God breathes on it. So this morning, the sound of love that I want you to know is that God is breathing on what you do. God is breathing on every area that you have your hands and your feet. You're special to God. You are special to God. And the reason you're special to God is because you have made a choice to serve his people, to serve those who are in spaces that they should not be in, just based off of their gender and things of that. So I do salute you and I do honor you for the work that you are doing. It is marvelous in his eyes.
So much, Chief. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate your kind words and those declarations. I'm writing them down, and I will continue to just, pray over them and say to the Lord, as the women of God spoke, let it be so in my life. So I'm just really, really grateful. And I wanted to also just add, Chief and Anita as well, that your mention of empowerment of both men and women is really something that God has been speaking to me about for 2023, because in the last year or two, we have had a very high suicidal rate within the men. And that's because they've not had that boldness to be able to reach out and speak their minds and reach out and, kind of like unpack their mental, health to anybody. And so we've seen that macho-ness, dying down because they just have not had platforms. And we've seen more platforms, empowering women, but very little towards the men. So I like the sound of, just the broader spectrum that Anita mentioned there, and you, Chief, that, both empowerment of both genders, because the need is there and it's glaring for both men and women. And men should not be forgotten, because society has kind of like just made them the muscle people, yet down inside they have needs. They have needs that are real and that are tangible. And somebody needs to actually say, hey, we're out here and we can help you and we can hold your hand too and walk with you.
That's a powerful statement, and it touches my heart as well. And Chief Erica can tell you I have 5 brothers. And we had all of them online and interviewed them concerning a man must have a voice. That is a division in Sister Sound's world. A man must have a voice. And in that, as they began to speak with a combined total of over 200 years worth of marriage experience combined, and it impacted so greatly that I knew then, and I've always felt that way, but I knew then we had to expand our voice to be able to say, for women, the theme being give me my touch back, because things have happened that have diminished our esteem, even among women, if we're going to be honest.
Yes.
You see, you don't see this camaraderie with, they always say women can't, but yes, women can, but we need our touch back, you know, our touch, our whisper. Can you be heard if you whispered? And when we do that program, Give Me My Touch Back, and we ask that, you would be amazed at the impact that it has resonating in the heart of a woman, that I can't be heard unless I holler. I can't be heard unless I'm boisterous. And when we can have that touch back, when we care enough to do what you were instructing, dedicate some time daily, spirit, soul, and body. Be intentional about that. Observe what you're eating, because your body is the temple. And for those that we may minister to who may not be drawn by God's Spirit in this moment, it doesn't mean that you can't plant a seed or you can't water a seed, but the increase will come through him. And so again, we thank you so much. I want to give you a formal invitation that will talk and really target some subject matter and have women not only from Zimbabwe or Kenya or Botswana or Namibia, wherever, Nigeria, but we also will have women from Virginia Beach, from Richmond, from Atlanta, all over, you know, from Michigan, right here in Philadelphia, and have some conversations on that theme of giving me my touch back and how we can translate that to women who have diminished esteem. But first, it's got to start with us. It's got to start with us. So we thank you, and we're going to transition you with IVH Sister Sounds World. And we have our guest, Pamela Gee, who is from Zimbabwe, who has an incredible, not only story, but a heart of giving. Giver's gain is a part of her dimension in life. She gives and she receives. No problem receiving, y'all. So I want you to stay tuned, because now we're going to transition to our dear Chief Erica Triplett, who is going to share with us how to build it beyond. How do you build it beyond military retirement? But before we talk about that, Erica, tell us a little about you as chief. You've just retired recently as chief, how you built it beyond, because I've known you a little while now. I've known you a little while, and I've observed your demeanor and strength as a chief, and how specifically your faith influenced you as a chief.
Well, good morning again to everyone who may just be tuning in. I am retired. I like to put the retired on there. Chief Erica Triplett. I served over 20 years. It's 20 years, 3 months and 6 days to be exact. In the United States Navy, where I was able to successfully ascend to the rank and office of Chief Petty Officer, amongst a host of men and women who also were rightfully deserving as well. Your question is, how do you build it beyond retirement with and in general serving with your faith? Build it beyond. If you all aren't aware, you should get the book. Have the book, right? You should get the book. But in Build It Beyond, there are 4 pillars that I believe actually speak to the heart of servanthood in general, but especially for women in the military and ministry. Pillar number 1, recognizing your truth, and pillar number 2, accepting your truth, and pillar number 3, embracing your worth, and then building your platform. And so when you ask me, how do I build it beyond with retirement? Those 4 speak directly to that. Knowing who you are, knowing whose you are, knowing that you were created by God. And as you said, Miss Pamela, that knowing that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that you can serve alongside those who very well may appear to be more qualified than you, and things of that nature. And serving as a woman in general, in any capacity. I don't think it just it is in the military. I think it spans across all spectrums of life. Serving as a woman already comes with additional it comes with additional prices. It comes with additional pieces and things of that nature. And so just recognizing that you are a woman. And, in the military, we you see the commercial and you hear the song, anything you can do, I can do better. When it comes to women, it very much is that women breaking glass ceilings across the military, because there's areas that we were not afforded to serve in. And over the 20 years that I was serving, I was able to watch those areas be opened up. So building it beyond, for me, is just starting at the foundation and going from there in whatever avenue and vein that you so choose to.
So as a chief, I know that there were challenges, much like what Pamela was sharing with us, diminished esteem. Talk to us about, as a chief, and I know you and I have had these conversations, and I'm so grateful that we literally several years ago put our hearts together concerning women in the military, particularly chiefs, women in leadership who are also mothers and wives. When it comes to diminished esteem, self-esteem, what did you notice that the women had to address, and how did you help them navigate that as a leader?
One of the greatest concerns, I think, as a woman serving in the military would be, for me, because I'm not married, but one of the greatest areas is the motherhood aspect of it. Because when you wear the hat of chief, or you wear the hat of first class, or any pay grade for that matter, and you are at a high demand, you're at a high demand. Sometimes adjusting and knowing how to take one hat off and put another hat on can be very, very hard. And so you almost sometimes often develop this mindset that you are everything for everyone except for yourself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You have to be the mother. You have to be the chief. You have to be, the commander. You have to be the captain. You have to be all of these different things. But when do you get to be Erica? When do you get to deal with self? And so I believe for the majority of those who serve and whom I've served with, that has always been our greatest issue across the military.
Mm-hmm. And I would think, Pam, that even with women in leadership roles, because I too serve women in C-suite positions, most of my tenure as a leadership coach and even in ministry, that's just the community that I served, women who are servants in some capacity. What are some of the things that you've come across with women in leadership, Pam, that are similar to what Erica as a chief is saying?
Yeah, I can relate to what Chief is saying, because right there, especially in the C-suite, you find that a lot of women, once they get to that position, either they suffer loss in terms of just even the marriage breaking down, because maybe sometimes the husbands can put very unrealistic demands that just because you think you're now CEO, don't think that you shouldn't do this or do that. And
Yeah.
sometimes they take it to dizzy heights, that in the end, somebody suffocates and they end up having a choice to say, should I be the chief executive officer here, or should I be a wife? So I relate with what Chief Erica is saying there, because it's almost like you've got to be very intentional about creating little compartments and boundaries where you can then juggle all the balls and ensure that none of them are actually falling to the ground. Because yes, the voices that will be calling your name are from different spheres, from children, from husband, from relatives, from community, from the team that you're leading. And if you don't devise a way of actually managing it, yes, it can manage you in the end.
Exactly. And with us being women of faith and faithfulness towards God, I want to just kind of make sure that the listeners understand that automatically we know that we have to have a very strong relationship with God, not just in prayer, but getting up off of your knees and activating the fruit of the Spirit, activating patience, But I want to take and settle that, because many times we'll get entrapped in, oh yes, I prayed and I did this. Okay, but you got to start walking it out among people, especially as a woman that's in a leadership role, Erica. And now she's leading men in a sector that says they have to respect the office, right? They have to respect the office and the command and the chain of command. And both of you can chime in, because women in C-suite positions, if you're ministering to them, many times they likewise are in those situations where they are leading men or they're leading women who are insecure of that office. Now, we've gone through the prayer, we've gone through the fasting. I want to fast forward us walking it out. Erica, I know you've had to lead men. Was there ever a time and an experience that you can share in brief and give the tools on how to bridge the gap of communication and still maintain your feminine expression and power?
Sure. I mean, the military is the mass majority are males. The mass majority in leadership are males. And so when you go into a room and you sit at a table, I'll say of 15 to 20 individuals, and you look around the room, and this is all leaders, stemming from the pay grade of E7 to 004. So you have your enlisted and your officer branches, and you can sit in a room with 15 to 20 people, and you very well can look around and it is one woman, or on top of that, one African-American woman in the or you could just be one African-American in the room, in the space. Can it be intimidating? Sure, it can be intimidating. But I always like to lean on the scripture where we let his light shine so bright that it draws all men unto him, right? And so
if he be lifted up, yes.
Yeah, as long as I allowed his light to shine, men and women alike were drawn to the light. So I didn't necessarily have to make my presence known, because his presence was known. They may not have known it was his presence, but there was a presence that was known that commanded the room. And so I've had my issues with male leaders who, because they are men, and they have felt that, rightfully so, they feel that they can do and say whatever it is that they could do and say, but just my presence alone oftentimes shifted and changed the way that the dynamic of the room was. And so I've had my share of incidents, but I often remove the because I am a woman mindset.
There you go. Yes. I was waiting on it.
I evolved into it was because of who I was. Sure, I'm a woman, but it was because of who I was and whose I was more so than anything. And so I removed the barrier of because I was a woman, because I wanted people to understand that leadership could transcend in any space. I didn't, whether I'm sitting in a room full of women, whether I'm sitting in a room full of junior sailors, whether I'm sitting in a room full of senior enlisted and senior officers, the leadership that I have is for everyone. And so
yes.
Shifted and moved into that mindset and that way of thinking, a lot of things shifted in the terms of how people saw me in leadership and dealt with me.
So not making my womanhood an exception, but being an exceptional woman who is knowledgeable, being an exceptional woman who is committed, being an exceptional woman who is confident. It's a difference between confidence and arrogance. There's a difference between the two. And now I want to bring the biblical perspective in, because I was looking for the tools. So there's a woman that is listening, there's a man that is listening, and they're in intimidation situations. And one of the scriptures that comes to mind is casting down imaginations and every high thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing every thought to the obedience of Christ Jesus, standing in readiness to avenge all disobedience when mine first is fulfilled. So you have to say it backward. I must first fulfill my obedience to believe who God says that I am, what God says that I am, and that he goes with me, right? Because I've already prayed. That's why I qualified that. I've already prayed. I know that God is with me. I know that I receive the wisdom that should come. And wherever there is darkness in the space of intimidation, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of intimidation, I will fear no evil. And bridging those gaps. And I've always felt that we've got to inspire. When we say we want to inspire and impact 1 million individuals to take action concerning self-care, spirit, soul, and body, they need some action steps on how to do that. Those C-suite women that we work with, Pam, those executive women in military and men in military, we can give them the verse, but how do we tell them how to rule over the soul that feels the intimidation? What are we providing real time, real language to people that they can grasp and hold on to? When do we become the rhema to them? And listening to you, Chief, I know there have been times that, especially with our sailors, which is why my daughter's in military. And, you know, when you see what happens when our families go to military, it's the whole family that does. When you see, Pam, the woman who has diminished esteem and the man that has that diminished esteem, it's the whole family that's infected by it. And with Sister Sounds in our camaraderie, Chief and Pam, I want to create those conversations just like we had, where somebody's going to come back and listen and say, I'm in that situation, but how do I walk through it? Not just identify it. Pam, what are 2 things that you can say to someone who is either male or female, and they know the Lord, they love Jesus, but they're in a sticky situation where violence with words, let's go there, because it's not just physical. You know, I've had people say, you know, that little thing you doing online, I go, little thing, that was a little passive aggressive, wasn't it? like little thing, or that little thing you did in Zimbabwe, little thing. Oh, okay.
Huge. Little to
you know,
them,
and
perhaps.
you have to go, whoosh, let me pull it in. Like, what you mean, little thing? You know, you have to pull it in. What practical in the moment recommendation that when you're faced with something that really gets you in your goat, what do they do, Pam?
Okay. So my advice is really just from my own life lessons. Okay. And
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, my advice to you, gentlemen out there and, ladies out there, is that, look, it's important to dig deep into who you are. And one key thing that you should not be is apologetic. Because when you are apologetic as an individual, you give so much ground to somebody else to walk all over you. So
Wow.
don't apologize for who you are. Just be simply who you are. And secondly, it's important to not fight so hard to, or even claim that I am who I am, or I am so and so. Don't let the title go before you, but let the substance of who you are, resonate more in that room, so that people catch on to that. I really, really loved what Chief Erica said, when she said half the time she didn't have to be conscious of, being in a room, because her very presence would make people change their seats and make people, look at things differently. She hasn't said a word, but already there's an effect that's going around. And that comes from the kind of, confidence and just inner knowledge of who you are, that allows you, when you sit there, for everybody to see that you are not apologizing, you are just who you are, and there's a light around you that is overshadowing the darkness that may be around you. And there may be people that will actually say something midway and then back off by themselves without you saying anything. So that strength in the grace that sits upon you.
Yes, yes. Don't let the title go before you.
Yeah.
Don't apologize. You don't have to shrink, you see. And because some people expect, sometimes, and I don't know about you, but in some instances, before maturity, I taught people how to enforce me shrinking because I was shrinking, you see. But once I understood who Anita is, and that I'm not one in a million, you can count to a million, you're still not going to find another Anita. Then you do what Pam is saying, is rest in the confidence that you are a one and only. And the effort that you instill, the effort that you expend should be in knowing more about how much of a gift you are, and being mature about it, that you're not a gift to everybody. You're just not. It's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
So you're not everybody's cup of tea, baby. And so it's okay. But when you have voice with someone and they respond, then be wise in how you minister that, because ministry is service, how you serve what you have. Be confident. Don't let your title go before you. Let the essence and the substance of who you are rest assured that if necessary, I can speak, but I just don't have to. Come on, Chief Erica, talk to us. Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that Miss Pam, you said knowing who you are. I oftentimes would tell junior sailors who aspire to promote to the pay grade of chief, because it's a big thing in the Navy to promote to that pay grade. It's a huge transition from the other E1 through E6 pay grades. And so quite often a lot of people get glamorized by the title Chief Petty Officer and things of that nature. And I always tell people, who are you and who do you want to become? Because who you are at core and who you want to become at core should not be affected by the title or the pay grade that you sit in. I was a chief petty officer before I was a chief petty officer. I didn't have to get to the office of chief petty officer to function and work in that manner. And so I often tell sailors, you know, when they come and they're, you know, in their frustrations, and everybody wants to be promoted. Okay. That's human nature. You get more money, you get more authority, you get more power, you get all these added benefits, so to speak. But if you are a chief, if you are a CEO, if you are a captain, whatever the title that goes with your name, who you are at your core should equate to that. I don't believe I would have had as much success. Some don't think it was success, and others think it was a lot of success. It's all wherever you're sitting at to view it. But I don't believe I would have had as much success serving in the military if I didn't know who I was, if I didn't know who I wanted to become. Chief Petty Officer, great. But I wanted to become someone who was able to inspire and have a impact and an imprint, as Miss Anita likes to say. Not only did I want to have impact, but I wanted to leave a everlasting imprint on those who I encountered throughout my 20 years of service. And because I knew who I was and who I wanted to become, it was easy for me to sit in those rooms, and it was easy for me to be able to pull aside a senior officer, and them to ask me, what do I think about this? How do I think they should move concerning this, and things of that nature. It wasn't because I was running around screaming at the top of my lungs that I'm a chief petty officer. It was because I was who I was, beyond the title, beyond the position.
Excellent. I am who I am beyond the title. The title has value because of who I am, not reverse. Mrs. Pamela G. It's Audacious Media, Audacious Women. On behalf of IBH Sister Sounds World, I want to thank you for sharing your time. You have friends in the audience. We salute you as well. Erica, let's give them the Queen's wave. Here, we salute each of you that have taken the time to support Audacious Media, Audacious Women, and now you are our sisters as well, our brothers as well. Chief Erica Triplett, God bless you. I know it was early, and you know I appreciate it. And I owe you lunch when I come. And I thank you for your faithfulness. Donna, who is in the audience and capturing and saying hello and smiling to the people, we appreciate you so much, Donna. You don't have to ask. She is just there, Pam. Erica is just there. And if our other sisters could have been here, they would, but I know their heart, and I send you their love as well. I want to thank you again for joining us in our drive time interview. We want you to like and share and like. Yes, we're going to get a catalog of these interviews for the last several weeks and place them on YouTube, and we want you to use them. We actually want you to use the content and encourage somebody, inspire them to leave an imprint on their thinking. Because when you change your mind, you will change your choices, and not before. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's when you will comprehend the majesty of God in absolutely every area of your life. I thank each of you, and you guys know what I'm about to say. Continue to live according to the rhythm of God's grace towards you. God bless you, and have a blessed day. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care.